Welcome to Black and Gold Digital Edition, a behind-the-scenes look at your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hi, and welcome to Week 5 of our digital show. I'm Jay Puskar alongside Kent Urbanski and Mike Fenner. And before we talk X's and O's from the game against the Green Bay Packers, Kent, what an experience we had going up to Lambeau Field last week and just taking in the sights and the sounds and a pretty decent football game to boot.
Yeah, nostalgic, especially for me going up there. I mean, doing this 33 years, first time there. I was really looking forward to it. Was kind of looking at it. I was like, I was thinking Lambeau was out in the boonies somewhere, and I guess it was at one time. But they've really built up around it. The atmosphere was incredible.
I took away just the overall camaraderie with everybody, whether you were wearing a black and gold jersey or a green and gold jersey. Everybody was up there having a great time. The weather was a little bit south of what we wanted to see, but it did feel like it was football weather. And not to mention Lambeau Field itself. You got to see the Hall of Fame guys that were honored, the number of championships, the old-time scoreboards. I mean,
bleacher
it really
seats
felt
all the way around, and it just had that feel of being in an old school stadium.
Not to mention two storied franchises going at it
Right.
last Sunday. All right, guys, as far as the game is concerned, Mike, boy, what a pivotal moment late in the first half. A lot of people, even at the post-game press conference, not much was said, but the fact that Minkah Fitzpatrick came up with a blocked punt or a blocked field goal, returned it for a touchdown, only to be negated for the offsides. Huge moment for that moment for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You have to respect the fact that they weren't making an excuse out of it and making that, but I mean, it's easy to make that excuse because the call was pretty tough. I mean, the offside call against Joe Hayden there, he even tweeted out, I guess, after the fact, I wasn't offsides, but it was a really, really tough break for the team because they could have taken a lead going into the half, have the momentum, take the crowd out of the game to a degree, and instead you wipe those points away. It's basically a turnover you don't get, and then Green Bay takes the field goal, continues to play from ahead, and then it takes away from the momentum and seeing what Pittsburgh could have done, I guess, with the lead with offensive play calling in the second half.
Right. I even thought being on the field, I was shooting that play, and I even saw the scheme going into there where I'm looking at some hand signals and stuff going on, thinking something's going on here. So I stayed tight on the kicker. Sure enough, I didn't see any offsides there, you know. It's really a shame because that's not an easy play to make there to score a touchdown off of that. You know, I felt bad for those guys, kind of getting robbed out of that, and it also I think robbed them of some momentum that they possibly could have gained on the road in a tough situation. And a struggling team, you need breaks like that.
You certainly do, and we saw that in Week 1 against the Buffalo Bills where they were able to get the blocked punt, and they were rewarded by getting a touchdown out of that, and that actually turned out to be the difference maker in that game. So all of a sudden, a momentum shift like that, really costly for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but here we are. They're 1-3. They've lost their last 3 games. They're back home taking on the Denver Broncos, and this is a matchup that a lot of people are saying maybe the first to double-digit points might win this one. How do you guys see things playing out? Because the talk so far is still the health of the Pittsburgh Steelers and just the offense still not getting to be able to fire on all cylinders.
Well, I mean, I think that's negated by the health of the Broncos coming in. They're not the healthiest of team either. They've got some
same position too, quarterback as well.
And the running backs out. They got some star wide receivers not playing in this game. So. I mean, I think it's going to be, advantage to Pittsburgh being a home game. And, and I guess it's all based on whether their starting quarterback is playing or not. So if you get the guy from last year, then he's not quite as mobile. And you know what happened last year.
Yeah, so far all indications, Teddy Bridgewater was able to take some snaps at practice, but Drew Lock was getting a lot of the reps with the number ones. And a lot of people are even saying that going into Sunday's game is, with it being a game time decision, a lot of it could be based on who's starting at quarterback.
Plus, like Kent said, no Jerry Jeudy, no KJ Hamler, some really good receivers for Denver. They've been bitten by the injury bug the last few years now. It just seems like they have really bad luck, especially early on in the season. They can't get off to the start they want to. And then you look at Denver's 3-0 start, and they're now 3-1, of course, off the loss to Baltimore. 3-0 start could be a complete mirage, though, if you look at this team, because Jets, Giants, Jaguars.
It's not murderer's row.
You're looking at, maybe aside from the Lions, it could be the 3 worst teams in football. So it was kind of hard to see, how good is Bridgewater? How good is this offense? How good is Denver as a team? They have a strong defense regardless of that schedule. I think they've proven that over the last couple of years. But it's going to be interesting to see another test for Denver because they kind of finally got their first one with Baltimore this past week. Weren't able to handle it at home. Now they have to come on the road across the country. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that environment, especially with that potential shift in quarterback.
And Kent, with any speculation of a quarterback change for the Steelers, that was pretty much nipped in the bud too, with Mike Tomlin talking about it at Tuesday's press conference, saying, hey, Ben's our guy. Whether he's performing well or not, he gives us the best chance to win. Do you still agree with some of what he has to say, or is it something where maybe down the road that they might have to address this?
I do, but I think if he loses these next 2 games, coming after the bye, you might see a change. You know, that's just my thought. But I think in this game here, you're going to see a heavy dose of Najee Harris. I don't know that Denver's really good against the pass. I don't know that. I think they're kind of toward the bottom of the barrel and stopping the run. So I think you're going to see a lot of Najee in this game, and I think that's going to be the key to their success.
Defensively, they were quiet against the Packers, had some pretty good numbers here and there, but still, it's been the strength of this Steelers team so far going through the season, and they're going to have to really step up come Sunday.
If it ends up being lock, I think this could be a great opportunity to get those turnovers going, start generating some pass rush, make them uncomfortable, make them make mistakes, and that really could give you some short fields for Najee Harris to kind of take over a game. I think that could be a huge factor for
even
the
with
Steelers
Bridgewater, though. If he plays, he's in concussion protocol.
Exactly.
He's going to be a little leery, man.
Yeah,
He's,
won't be 100%.
Right. Yeah. So.
Ken, how critical is this game, at least the next 2 games at home before the bye week? Because we talked about it on the way back from Green Bay. It's all hypothetical, and it's always going to be the case when we have shows like this, too. But if they can actually get back to 3-3 going into the bye week, I mean, you wipe the slate clean, and then you make that push toward possibly getting above 500 and go from there.
Yeah, if you get healthy. I mean, if you use these 2 games, if you win them at home, which I think is possible, you know, and then you have a bye, chance to rest up, then you go into Cleveland. And if you go into Cleveland at 100% and healthy, with that offensive line making little strides each week, I think you're right back in it.
The good thing is they have 5 division games still in front of them, so the opportunities will be there. They'll be tough, but they have 5 division games still in their control. So,
how huge is it for the offense on Sunday to get off to a good start? We saw it last week for once, where their opening series, they finally scored a first quarter touchdown in 11 games, but do they really need to get this going and at least have a lead in the first half of play?
Yeah, opening drive touchdown or opening drive score would be big, and then they just need this crowd to really be able to feed off some good things on a couple drives in a row where it's complementary football, offense, defense, you know, playing in unison. If they can get a couple good drives to start together, the crowd's really going to get into it. They're going to believe, hey, this team can get back on track, and that would be huge. But they can't kind of trade points or trade drives early on. I think that would help settle in the Broncos on the road.
No splash plays either.
Yeah.
You know, keep everything in front of you.
That would certainly work.
Yeah.
I've heard that term a lot, too, the last couple of weeks
they keep
from
giving
coach.
them up. They keep giving them up. So.
Yeah, from either coach or the players. The splash play, well, let's just try to at least nickel and dime somebody and try to get some points on the scoreboard. Well, hopefully for the Steeler fans' sake that the energy is going to be there, but not for the wrong reasons like the last time we were there with the boos coming out early in the third quarter. We'll see how it all unfolds at Heinz Field as they take on the Denver Broncos. So for Ken Urbanski and Mike Fenner, I'm Jay Puskar. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next week for Black and Gold Digital Edition.